Hey, this is Melissa from Catch the Buzz. I'm excited to talk to you today about the movie After Death. It is put out by Angel Studios and talks about the near death experiences of people from all over the world, all different walks of life, and all different situations and circumstances. So I was kind of surprised when we went to see this movie, my husband Thomas and I. The angle they took from it was a little bit different than what I expected. Um, I'm going to try not to give away too many spoilers so as I talk to you about it, in case you haven't gotten to see it yet. But they gave a lot of technical reports and that type of thing of documented experiences of people who have died and come back. One of the interesting things they found, as a lot of them reached out and talked to each other, they found that there was a lot of consistency in the stories and similarities, and they wondered, a lot of them, how people hadn't talked about their experience before, and they found that so many of them would talk to their doctor, to a loved one, like especially like a spouse, or a partner, and they would just think that they were crazy. So it was difficult because they were talking about things that other people couldn't understand, talking about things that they had seen that they said that there's not words to describe. And I would say that this video is very captivating visually. And there was a lot of comments I read down below about the movie, and people that had had those near death experiences before said that how accurate the movie was. It's nice that the people gave so much backstory and talked about things that were really hard, because some people had chosen to pass. Um, and it does bring up those things where we all wonder, why does someone live and someone else dies? But I've as I've seen a lot of people that I've known recently that have experienced a loss, unexpectedly, especially, and especially by the person's own hand. In many circumstances, it happens more than people think, and they don't talk about it because it's really hard, and they want to be respectful to the one that has passed, or whatever different reasons they have. I just know those are some of them. But I know that God has things happen for us in our life because we need that growth. There was a lot of consistent things relating to who people saw as they passed, and it was not a real surprise for me, being a person of faith. It's what I would expect to happen. I had two grandmas pass away within 6 months of each other. One was in her 80s and the other one was 96. So it wasn't a surprise that the second one for sure would pass. She passed first, in November, like a couple days after Thanksgiving, and it was really hard to be sitting there having Thanksgiving dinner, and in the other room there's grandma who's, just kind of hanging on, having not consumed any water or food or anything for hours, or, sometimes for days, just being in and out of consciousness. And that was hard because I didn't get the chance to really mourn when she passed, because it was during the holidays and I needed to be able to, process what was going on. And even when you're prepared for somebody to pass, I mean, at 96 years old, she wasn't going to live forever. It was just going to be a matter of time of when something would happen with her. We also found out she had cancer, but the doctor said that her quality of life now was better than what she might gain by trying to prolong her life a bit longer, that would be worse than letting her just go naturally, that something else would take her probably first. We knew that for sure for her it wouldn't be too long. I think I feel a lot like people during the times of the pandemic that lost someone they loved, in the way that I was at least able to be there with her during the times of her passing. Because as I said, she hadn't eaten or consumed food or water very much, and had been sleeping the majority of the time for at least a week, I believe. But I remember she had an infection and it was contagious, so we couldn't touch her. So we had to wear rubber gloves and a hospital gown and a mask, which was terrible because there's something about being able to touch someone that you love. And I hated having her go out of this world, seeing all of us looking like we were in a hospital, even though we were in my mother's home. I remember when I got to talk to her, and they said she probably won't really be awake, she won't really respond, but you can go ahead and go in and talk to her if you want to. And I was just saying different things to her, that it was okay, that it was time to go, that she would see her daddy because he had passed away on her 16th birthday, and she was the oldest of 8 children, if I remember correctly. And she had had a baby that had died, and she was going to see him, and her husband had passed away at least over 20 years before, so she'd get to be with him again and other family members, which is brought up in After Death, of people seeing loved ones. I was talking to her, then all of a sudden it's like she woke up, and then I was like, oh, she's here, like, now what do I say to Grandma? But yeah, there's something so special about touch that I wish that we had gotten to have. And then 6 months after that, my other grandma passed away, who'd been taking care of her husband, who had not been doing well. He'd been kind of in and out of the hospital at different times. So, as often happens, people would think that the one that is in the hospital is the one that's going to pass away. And with my grandma, she was just killing herself taking care of Grandpa. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. She was working so hard to take care of him and try to stay in their own home. And we're with my parents for the last year, I think. When my grandma had passed, the first grandma had passed away at 96, then now they had room in their home, and my grandparents were now ready to move in with my parents. But I remember with my second grandma, Belle, and she had been on blood thinners, and they'd found that it was giving her ulcers, if I remember right. And either way, it was hurting her, causing her so much pain, and she was going to be dying one way or another. Basically, they decided they needed to take her off of the blood thinners, and then it was just going to be a matter of time before there would be a blood clot or something where she would pass. And so with her, I had time to prepare to talk to her, but it wasn't like the other grandma where we had expected it for a while. It was a matter of time of, months, then weeks, then days of how she was doing. With this grandma, it was within a couple of days we were seeing how she was doing, and then that day it was like, she if you want to say goodbye to Grandma, here's your chance. And so it's really blessed having the opportunity for them to say, this is your last chance to talk to Grandma, what do you want to say? And I thought back to a lot of people that I've heard say, if I had the chance, what would I say to say goodbye? And so I felt that pressure to know what to say to my grandma knowing it would be the last time that I would see her in this life. And I just prayed to know what to say. Grandma, you did a good job. You were a good example to us and to me. And you taught us how to live a good life. And I remember she said to me that I guess I have done something good with my life. And I told her that, hey, Grandma, you're about to join the party. They're all waiting for you. And she had lost her father. I think that she was out of the house at the time. I think she was in her 20s at least. But I know that my grandma, Belle, was the love of my grandpa's life. And that he had had a hard experience with his mother having had cancer and dying of breast cancer in Australia when he was a teenager. And he didn't feel a lot of that love. He missed that from his mother's suffering. And he said that his life didn't really begin until he had met my grandma. And so I was grateful to get to say goodbye and to get her to the opportunity to know how much I loved her. And I was able to feel peace with that. And I was grateful that I said, I'm not going to hold back this time. I'm going to mourn because it had been really rough holding things in, being the parent and the adult and having to function. That's mostly what I wanted to say about after death for now. But what I'm excited is we have the opportunity to do a live stream this Saturday, November 18th at 7 p.m. I just want to say thank you to all of our viewers. Our biggest city of viewers is from New York City. And the biggest state of our viewers is California, which is awesome because we're here in Idaho. And I just love how God has given us the opportunity to not be separated by distance, and be able to connect with people all over the country and for people all over the world. We also have Canada, Mexico, and Australia. And my grandpa's from Australia, so I love that. And another grandpa's from Mexico, so that really excites me too. And the UK. So shout out to all of you. Hope you can meet with us. And our first live stream, we'll try to look like we know what we're doing. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. It means a lot to us, and to our family, and getting to share the things that we love and know and are learning, and building a community and making new friends. Thanks. Talk to you later. See you Saturday at 7 o'clock.